Yo, yo, Kev, yo. How about we throw the party here?
That was a bad idea before. It's a terrible idea now.
Well,
Your NBA 2K rating should be 100, not 97.
yeah. Come on, man. It's a perfect idea, bro. Who would've won a party in the King's house?
To become a champion, you must think like a champion.
Listen to LeBron, man. Look, it's perfect, dog. Look, we just hit up all this context, right?
What up, y'all? It's your boy, Mr. Mars Sharp, Shortman Filmworks in the building. And we have another episode of the Everyday Man's Film Reviews for you guys tonight. All right. Tonight, we're going to be reviewing the 2023 release of House Party, starring Jacob Lattimore and Tosin Cole. Let me get into this movie for a little bit. Let me start y'all with a little bit of history. For those of y'all who've seen the old version of House Party back in 1990, I know I got a taste of this movie when I was 9 years old, when I seen the original House Party, and it just turned out to be one of these classic movies of anybody who has seen the kind of up and coming of age story. And it was starring Ken and Play, Tisha Campbell's in that movie, Martin Lawrence, a whole lot of stars blossomed from this movie. You know what I'm saying? So my take on knowing that they was actually having a remake of House Party, and I really didn't know they was going to do a remake on this movie until I was out seeing Megan, and I seen the movie poster for it, and I was like, oh man, they remake a House Party? I'm like, come on, man. Like, certain movies you look at, you like, man, come on, man, y'all cannot mess up. Y'all can't do these remakes, because a lot of remakes, as you know, turns out to be horrible. They turn out to be horrible when you see a remake. So I really wasn't too excited about seeing this version of one of my favorite films of all time, which is House Party, man. So I wasn't too excited. So when I came home after seeing Megan, I came home, I watched the trailer, and when I watched the trailer, once again, I'm like, all right, let me try to give it a chance, and I'm like, I don't really know, because I looked at the trailer, and y'all know how it is with these trailers these days. They put so much of the good parts of the movie into the trailer, you know what I mean? Because that's what's gonna hook you. And I feel like they did the same thing with this trailer. They put a lot of the good parts in there. They put a lot of the catchphrases, a lot of the funny things that'll be set inside of the movie. They put a lot of the cameos of what's gonna be in the film. They put a lot of that in the trailer. So I was like, okay, can I really expect much from this movie when I go see it? Because, like I said, I really wasn't excited about them remaking this movie, and I also wasn't excited about the trailer. So I was just like, okay, maybe I'll check it out, maybe I won't. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll just kind of wait till it just comes on, a streaming platform. You know what I mean? So it shocked the hell out of me. That's all I can say, man. It shocked the hell out of me. And surprisingly, this was a really good movie, in my opinion. Because I know there might be a couple people out there that might see this movie and they be like, oh man, I don't know. I really didn't like it. I can truly say that I really liked this version of the movie. And I say that because to me, it wasn't a remake. They took a completely different direction with this story. And I think it was produced by LeBron James. So I think LeBron James had a lot of input put into this movie. And as I can imagine, this was probably one of his favorite films growing up as well, too. And seeing this movie, man, like I said, man, I did not expect to enjoy this movie as much as I did. And I really enjoyed this movie. You know what I mean? Like I said, they didn't do a remake. It's a completely different story from what the original House Party is. Going with Jacob Lattimore and Tosin Cole's character, which is Kevin and what's my man's name? Kevin and Damon. Everybody's calling him Damon in the movie, and it's kind of almost like a little bit of a running joke inside of the movie, where his name is spelled as Damon, but he's called Damon. You know what I mean? But they start out as they're best friends, and they are party promoters. But in the meantime of them being party promoters, they also have to have a regular job, where Jacob Lattimore's character, Kevin, he plays more of the straight and narrow guy. He's got things going on in his life. He's got a child. He's got responsibilities that he has to take care of. And Damon is more like the free spirit. You know, he's kind of like, okay, I'm out here. I'm trying to chase my dreams. I'm chasing my dreams being this club promoter. And I got my best friend along for the ride. You know what I mean? And they have this regular job where they clean houses. You know what I mean? And in cleaning houses, they run up into this. They run into this house, which they're cleaning the house, and they go through a little issue where, you know, they get caught smoking weed at one of their other jobs, so they're about to be fired. So now he's like, you know, Damon is kind of like, okay, man, let's come up with this elaborate plan to throw the biggest party that we can throw, and let's throw a house party. Let's throw the biggest party we can throw. And they trying to find a venue. They trying to figure out where it's gonna go, and they decide to throw it at the house that they're actually cleaning, which turns out to be LeBron James's house. You know what I mean? So the movie pretty much goes from there. And as I said, man, I really didn't expect to enjoy this film, but I had so much fun watching this movie, man. I had so much fun watching this movie. I enjoyed it more. Like I said, I enjoyed it more than I expected, because I went into the film and I was just kind of like, okay, let me give it a shot. You know, I'm not gonna just totally just shit on the movie because thinking it's gonna be a remake. Let me not prejudge it before I go see it. And I went to go see it and I checked it out. And like I said, man, at first I was a little bit hesitant. At first, you know, it's kind of like some of them things. Like sometimes you don't really want to give up the I don't want to say you want to give up control, but you don't want to let loose. So you kind of like a little bit sheltered, and I kind of was like that. I was kind of a little tight. I was a little like, okay, let me see what they're gonna do in this film to see, you know, what's it gonna be like. And I went into it with the mind to compare it, like, oh, okay, this is just like this one from the old movie, and this one is just like this, and this part is just like this from the original film. Which there are a couple of elements inside of this film where you can tell, okay, that was, you know, the original film was the motivation for, you know, some of these characters or some of these situations, you know what I'm saying? But all in all, it's a completely different story from what the original House Party is. And I love that wholeheartedly, that they didn't try to take this movie and do the exact comparison or try to do the same thing that they did in the first film. You know what I mean? A lot of remakes are like that. You know, it's the same formula. It's rehashed again, and you're essentially watching an updated version of the movie. This particular version of House Party, it's updated because, you know, there's a lot of the technology that's going on in the world today, with a lot of these young kids being on Instagram. There's a lot of the vocabulary of what a lot of these young kids how they speaking now, which I get, which is no problem. You know, you got to keep it up to date. But other than that, man, from it being in a more up-to-date perspective now, I really enjoyed this movie, man. I can't tell y'all how much I really enjoyed this movie, man. I really did, man. You know, a couple little elements in there was sprinkled, and you know, they got a couple of things going on. There's a lot of stuff going on in there. I don't want to say, well, let me not say it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff going on in there, but it makes sense. You know, it's not a long movie. It's an hour and 40 minutes, which to me gets the job done. It gets the job done. It doesn't have to be no long, drawn out movie. You know, they get straight to the point. You know, they get straight to the point. You figure out what the characters are going through. You figure out what their obstacles are. You figure out what they got to do, because you pretty much can tell who the characters are when you first meet them. When you first meet Kevin, you know who he is. When you first see Damon, you know who he is. You know what I mean? And going from that, it sets you up to say, okay, well, I know where this film is going. And you kind of know where it's going, even though in a part of the movie, it took a turn to the left, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? But even with it going to the left, I still have fun watching this movie, man. I still have fun watching this movie, even with it going to the left, man. And I know a lot of people probably be in this film like, where did they get that from? What made them take it there? But at the same time, I could understand why it went to the left, because it's a lot of what a lot of these a lot of young conspiracy theorists are thinking about. You know what I mean? I don't even want to say young. It's a running conspiracy theory that goes on a lot in the hip hop world, in the entertainment world. And those who've seen this movie, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about when it goes to the left. You don't expect it to go there, but when it does, you just like, okay. But I understand why it went there. And like I said, once again, I enjoyed the fact that it went there. I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Like I said, I was talking about the characters, and they have 3 characters in this film by the name of what was their name? They was called Young Threat Entertainment, and they were party promoters as well. And they reminded me of the Full Force characters in the original House Party, and in a lot of ways too. You know, these 3 characters are kind of like a little bit of a reference to the Full Force characters. Even one of the characters, he says one of the lines that Pee-wee says in the first movie. You know what I mean? And y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna say it up here, even though I've said other bad words on these videos, so I don't know why I don't want to say it now. But y'all know exactly what I'm talking about when he said where Bow-Legged Lou, who's a part of Full Force, he's got his iconic line, and everybody who saw this film back in the day knew exactly what that line was. Because I remember being like 9 years old, and all of us was in school repeating that line. All of us at 9 years old. You know what I mean? But I like the way they made these characters. I like how they took that element of them being kind of like the 3 bullies, and they put them in more of a modern setting, man. I enjoyed it, man. I really did enjoy it, man. And I'm trying to think about it. I'm trying to think of some other stuff that I really did like about this movie, because I haven't had fun watching a movie like this in a long time. I found myself smiling and laughing at silly stuff. You know what I mean? DC Young Fly is in this movie. He plays a DJ for the party. He plays the DJ for the party named Vic. And as y'all know, in the original House Party, Martin Lawrence plays Bilal. He plays the DJ. But he took a different direction. He didn't try to do the same thing that Martin Lawrence did. He did his own thing. And with him doing his own thing and creating this different DJ, it made it that much more fun, man. Because he didn't try to do the same thing that Martin Lawrence did. And I'm so happy that he did not try to do that. Actually, be honest with you, man, a lot of these characters didn't try to do what the original cast did. You know what I mean? What Kid and Play did with their characters, Jacob Lattimore and Tosin Cole didn't do the same thing that Kid and Play did. You know what I mean? They did something completely different. You know what I mean? And then I want to say you kind of had the character of oh God, what was their names in the original movie? Shireen and Sydney. They were kind of in the film with these two girl characters, Venus, and she had her cousin, and I can't really remember the cousin's name because her part was so small, but she kind of played this gold digger type chick where she was just into dudes because of their clout, because of their money, or what kind of status they had on social media. And her part was small, but it relates to a lot of what's going on with, you know, what's going on today. You know, you got a lot of people chasing people who they feel like they got clout, or they got dough, and they got money, or they got status. So she was that character, where the character of Venus was she was the more straight and narrow character. She had her shit together, but she also had dreams that she was chasing. She was chasing being a dancer. You know what I mean? So I would say these two was kind of like the Sydney and Shireen character from the first movie. But once again, it was a different take. They didn't try to do the same thing that Sydney and Shireen were doing in that movie. You know what I mean? And like I said, once again, I love that part about it. You know, there were a couple of things in here. Like I said, there's a couple of throwback scenes that reminds you of the first movie, like the dance off. You know, you have the dance off in the first movie, and then you have the dance off in this movie, and they do their little thing. It's not as elaborate as the first, as the dance scene in the original House Party, but it's still paying homage to what they did in the first film. And I mean, it's a real small. I can say that dance scene is probably about maybe 5 minutes. It's like a 5-minute dance off. You know what I mean? But once again, you get the gist of what they were doing and the respect that they was paying to the original film. You know what I mean? Ken and Play has a little cameo in the movie, and I thought that was cool. I thought that was cool for them to give them a cameo in the film with that. One thing I would say that I wish they would have did, I wish they would have had Full Force in this movie. And I feel like, for those of y'all who've seen this movie, I feel like they should have had Full Force be the security guards, that the security guards for the party. Because I just feel like that would have been, like I said, I think that would have paid homage to their character. And then they didn't have to typically do the same character that they did in the original House Party, but I feel like they should have put them in that film and let them be the 3 security guards. Because it was 3 security guards, and I'm like, that would have played it off lovely if they just would have put them in that film and let them be the security guards for the party. And I think, to me, that would have, I think for me, that would have kind of completed it and made it a little bit more, I don't know, I think it kind of would have brought it a full circle, you know? And honestly, I don't think you needed Tisha Campbell and AJ Johnson in this movie. I don't really think you did. If they did, if you was going to put them in the movie, maybe the character of Damon, he had a little love interest in the film. And maybe that could have been maybe either Tisha Campbell's character, or it could have been AJ Johnson's character. You know what I mean? They could have been part of that. You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking about inside of them while I was watching this film. That maybe, you know, if they would have had them come back, maybe one of them would have came back for that character. Then I think that would have been cool. But you know, it served its purpose for what it needed to do. I'm trying to think of some other things about this film that, when I was looking at it, I thought that I would change, but I can't really say there was much I would have changed about the film, because, like I said, I liked it. It was enjoyable, man. It really was enjoyable. And like I said, it shocked the hell out of me. I didn't think this movie was gonna be fun like this, man. And you know, and y'all know what I mean when y'all say y'all go into a movie and you actually have fun with a movie, where you go in there and it gets your endorphin, it gets your adrenaline going, man. Not adrenaline going like, you know, it's exciting, but it's a feel good movie, man. I think this version of House Party is just like the original House Party. It's a coming of age film. You know, you got these young kids trying to do what they're pursuing. They're trying to pursue their dreams, but they have to live real life while they're pursuing these dreams. You know what I mean? You know, you got, you know, Kevin's character, he wants to make beats and he's in the music, but you know, he's got a daughter and he's got to take care of that. You know, same thing with Damon. He wants to be a party promoter, but he also knows, hey, I gotta live for today, but he's more focused on doing what he needs to do with his party promotions. And same thing with the Venus character. Venus, she's working for the cleaning company that the guys are working for. She's kind of like a higher up, but she really wants to dance, you know. So in a way, it's about chasing your dreams as well. You know what I mean? So I like the fact that they put that element inside of the story, and that's a testament to a lot of what a lot of young cats are doing these days, and you know what a lot of people like me are doing these days. You know, people my age, people in their 30s and their 40s. You know, people are starting to gamble on themselves. They starting to take chances with themselves and starting to chase dreams and starting to going after things that maybe you put off when you was younger. You put it off when you was younger because it was like, okay, I got this going on, and you put life things ahead of your dreams, and you put life stuff ahead of everything else you got to do, and put your dreams secondary. Where it's like, okay, you know, this day and age, you know, you can start chasing some of that stuff. You know, now don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you can't be realistic, because you got to be realistic, because bills ain't gonna stop coming. But at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, now I can work on the stuff that I really enjoy doing while still, you know, taking care of reality. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent, but in a way, you know, that's kind of like what was like one of the underlining what was like one of the underlying stories of the movie. You know, chase your dreams, pursue what you want to pursue, go after what you want to go after. You know, and just learn how to just kind of relax and just let it be. You know, the character of Kevin character, he was kind of rigid, kind of stiff. When Damon, I want to call him Damon, but I'm trying to be respectful to the character. I'm just gonna call him Damon. But Damon was trying to tell him to relax, and Venus was telling him to relax. You know, he was always like, "Yo, you know, things are getting out of control, and we got to keep things under wraps." And you know, and you know, Damon was like, "Yo, man, just chill out, man. It's a party. You know, enjoy yourself. Turn up, as you know they say now. Enjoy yourself. Turn up. Have fun. Enjoy yourself. You know what I mean?" So I feel like you know, that was like I said, that was one of the underlining points of the film. You know what I mean? And like I said, I can't stress enough. I really have fun enjoying this movie. I think actually, you know what? I take that back. It hasn't been that long since I enjoyed this movie because I seen Bullet Train. Bullet Train was another one of those movies that I seen that I enjoyed. I had fun watching that movie. You know, so many different scenes that I would just rewind and watch them over again and just go back to it and go back to this story and go back to these different parts. When they start streaming this movie, I'll probably do the same thing, man. I'll probably watch I ain't gonna say I'm probably gonna watch it again. I'm gonna watch this movie again because I enjoyed it that much, man. So I will watch this movie again, you know. And kudos to the kudos to the filmmakers. I didn't write down the director's name. I did not write down the director's name, you know. But I think he might be a first time director. But if this was his first film, he or she. I know it's one name, and I can't think of the name, because I can't remember the name. But if it's their first film, I feel like they did a good job. I enjoyed it. You know, like I said, it's an hour and 40 minutes. You know, and I might as well just go ahead and dip right into the scale. It's an hour and 40 minutes. You know, and it's let me put it to you like this too. It's an hour and 40 minutes. It's not a complicated movie. It's not a complicated film, you know what I mean? You get right into the meat of the movie. You know, when you get the movie started, about, you know, I'll say roughly about 5 or 10 minutes, you already know what's going on in the film. And that's fine. Sometimes you don't need to go into a movie and get overcomplicated explanation about what's going on in the film. Just serve the film up to me, get it started, let me know what I'm dealing with, and let's start getting this shit cracking. Let's start getting to the resolution. You know what I mean? I don't need a long drawn out film and a long drawn out storyline. You know what I mean? I'll put it to you like this, man. Because there was a story to me, you know me, I like looking for stories. And to me, there was a storyline with the Kevin character and his daughter. And his daughter, you know, he was like, okay, I need to get this money to send my daughter to this expensive preschool. Daughter could have been no more than about maybe like 4 years old. You know what I mean? Could I say that probably could have been explored a little bit more? Maybe. If this was more of a serious toned movie and it wasn't a comedy, then I probably would have been like, okay, they could have dug a little bit more into the storyline of Kevin's character with his daughter, what happened with the mama, or something like that. If it was more like a drama, and maybe if it was a drama that had a little bit elements of comedy in it, then I probably would have expected that story to be a little bit longer. It was a comedy though, and I got the point. Hey, I'm trying to work. This happened. I got fired. Now I got to try to come up with this money to pay for my daughter's private school. I got to move out because my parents are selling their house and they moving away. So I got to find some place for me to stay. So it was to the point. You know, he had an issue. He had a problem. He needed to solve it. They came up with the house party with all these celebrities and just tried to throw the biggest bash that they can to solve the problem. You know, it's simple, easy, quick to the point. Don't need none long and drawn out and overcomplicated, man. And that's one of the elements that I loved about this film. You know what I mean? Sometimes you want to go into a movie, you want to see the movie, you want to have a good time, take you away from reality for a little bit, get into a nice, simple, simplistic story, and then carry your ass home and call it a day. You know what I mean? And that's what I got from this film. You know what I mean? Nice, easy, simple, had a couple of laughs, had a good feel-good feeling going through, watching the movie, had a couple, I ain't gonna say I had a little bit of laugh moments. I had a lot of laugh moments, man. I had a lot of moments where I was cracking up, man. I had a lot of moments when I was cracking up, especially with the koala bear. If y'all know what I'm talking about with the koala bear, that shit had me cracking up. That had me cracking up, and when they got the koala bear high, that shit had me cracking up. You know what I mean? So, like I said, man, I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. So, like I said, getting to my scale, I would give House Party 2023. I'm gonna give that 3 thumbs up. I'm not gonna give it 4. I'm not gonna give it 4. But for what it's worth, I give the movie 3 thumbs up. I give it 3 thumbs up. I enjoyed the acting. I enjoyed the acting. I enjoyed the direction of the movie. I just enjoyed the overall good feeling of the film. And you know, it's it's got a new sound. It's got a new hip hop soundtrack. And I ain't much for this. I ain't much for hip hop these days because there's a whole lot of shit that don't make no sense to me. I come from the 90s era, and those of y'all who know the 90s era, y'all know how that music was. But you know, I enjoyed the music for what it's worth. Like I said, man, I got my gripes with today's hip hop, but you know, that's me. A lot of people call me, "Oh, you just an old head." Well, I'll just be an old head because I still enjoy my old school hip hop. You know what I mean? Some of the new stuff is okay, but you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But like I said, sticking to the scale, I give House Party 2023 3 thumbs up. Check it out, man. You know, those of y'all who grew up with House Party like me, I feel like y'all love this film. Well, I don't know. Y'all might not love it like me. Yeah, but I really did. I really did enjoy this film. I can't say that much. I know I said it a lot in this video, but I really can't stress that enough how much I enjoyed this film. But those of y'all who grew up with the old House Party, I think like me, y'all will have an appreciation for them not trying to do the old House Party over again. The fact that they took a fresh approach to it, a new take, made it modernized it, but didn't try to do what the original movie was. You know what I mean? They made it different and they made it distinct. You know what I mean? So, you know, okay, it's 2 different house parties. You got the 1990 house party and the 2023. Does it hold up to the original? Does it hold up to the original? Oh man. I want to say no, it doesn't, because the house party when it first came out was original. You know what? I'm gonna stick to my guns. And it's not taken away from what I feel about this film. Does it hold up to the original? No, it doesn't. Because when House Party came out in 1990, that was an original film. It was original. You never seen it be done before. You never seen it done with a black cast. Like I said, it was a coming of age story, but you never seen this coming of age story with a black cast like this. This movie does hold up to its original because I feel like it's a standalone. It can stand on its own. It doesn't have to be compared to the old House Party, which I think a lot of people are going to do. And I was guilty of that too, because I was like, okay, I don't want to see it because it's probably going to be a shitty remake and it's going to be like the first one and they're going to try to redo the first one. It's going to be shitty and I don't want to see it. Go into this movie with an open mind. You know, a lot of people might be a little bit, you know, y'all might be a little closed off like I was, like, oh, my, let's see how they butcher this shit up. You know what I mean? But if you go into it with an open mind and go into it as if you're seeing a completely brand new film, and that's what it is. It's a completely different film. Go into it with the eyes of it being a brand new film. Don't compare it to the old House Party because they're 2 different films. You know what I mean? So that's why I say it won't hold up to the original, because House Party 1990 is a completely different film from House Party of 2023. So go into it with a different mindset. And if you go into it with a different mindset, I feel like y'all will enjoy the movie. Okay, so that's my take on House Party 2023. Like, comment, subscribe. You know what I mean? Let me know how y'all feel about this movie. If you've seen it, drop some comments down below, man. If you liked it, let me know. If you didn't like it, let me know. You know what I mean? If y'all feel like I'm full of shit and I'm just, you know, whatever. But, you know, it's my opinion. I like the movie. But yeah, drop some comments below. Hit the like button. hit the subscribe button and come check out my channel and come back for some more of these film reviews. All right. So here we go. This is Shortman Filmworks. I'm Mr. Marshall, and these are the Everyday Man's film reviews. Y'all take care. Y'all have a good night, and I will see y'all on the next one.